What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I am here today for another installment of the week's hottest topics, number 3. So this week it's a kind of gonna be some heavy stories that I talk about, and I think what I want to do going forward is I want to talk about the serious stuff up front, and then do the entertainment stuff to and to lighten the mood up. So you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into these topics that I have for this week. All right, you guys. So I had to rearrange things, but the first story that I do want to talk about in this week's episode is the Rayshard Brooks story that happened out in Atlanta this past weekend, which is a week ago today, actually. And I've spent some time sitting and thinking about this story because when it happened, I saw it on social media, and I saw people having discussions about the whole situation. You know, there were people who were saying that what the cops did was justified, and then there were people who were saying that it wasn't justified. And I do want to gauge what the collective thought is. Was it justified versus was it unjustified killing? So I'll tell you, if you guys don't know the story, I'm going to tell it to you. So Rayshard Brooks, he was at the Wendy's in Atlanta, and he was asleep in his car in the drive-thru. Now, someone at Wendy's called the police because he was blocking the traffic of the drive-thru. So the police came out there, and they talked to him. Now, it was a lengthy conversation that they had with him, and then they also did do a field sobriety test, which he did fail. So then I think after he failed the sobriety test, the officers went to arrest him. When they went to arrest him, he started to resist arrest. Now I know, and this is where things come into question. Number one, people said he was resisting arrest. But my thing is that there were two cops there, and he was drunk. So he's impaired, he's inebriated, so his reflexes shouldn't be that strong. But for some reason he was, when it came down to them arresting him, he was giving them the business. So one of the cops then pulled out his taser, and somehow Rayshard was able to grab control of the taser, and he took off running. And in the video, you can see the cops chasing after him, but then you also, and then you did see one shot where he was pointing that taser at them, and like I said, he took off running, and then they shot at him and killed him. So then this is where the discussion comes in, where I see a lot of people who saying what the cops did was justified. Now, what we know today is those cops are both in jail. They were given to, they had to turn themselves in. I think they had to turn themselves in by yesterday, which was Thursday. So, they're in charge of murder. I think, who else? The police chief, she resigned. Actually, she resigned last week. So the question has come in that, I saw people say he was resisting arrest. Yes, he was. But again, he was drunk. So, at some point, I would think a drunk person is going to stumble, fall. Like I said, he's impaired. He doesn't have the same motor skills that a lucid, sober person would have. So I just think, for me personally, I feel as though it was excessive what they did. And I'm talking in circles, but I'm getting back to where I was going. Now, there are people who are saying that he pointed the taser at them, and they didn't know, they feared for their lives. Now, a taser is non-lethal, so if he shoots them, it's just going to be a bolt of electricity going through them. Nothing compared to a bullet. So I didn't see the comparison. But then I thought about it, I'm like, well, but even still, there's another cop. So if he did tase one of them and he managed to take one of their guns, there is another cop that can, get hopefully wrestle the gun from him. And even if you do shoot at him, you don't have to take a kill shot. You can shoot him in the leg, you can shoot him in the foot, you can shoot him somewhere just to stop him. But to kill him, I just don't agree with that aspect. I truly 100% don't. And, to the people who say that, it was justified because he had the taser. Now, a few weeks ago, I saw this video of this white lady where, the cop was going to give her a ticket. I think her registration or something was out. I don't know what it was. The cop was going to give her a ticket. She told the cop no, that he wasn't giving her the ticket. He said, I'm giving you a ticket. She says no. And then, she drove off. He told her not to leave. She drove off. So he followed in pursuit behind her. And then when he followed her, he told her he was going to arrest her. She told him he was not going to arrest her. So they then started to fight. And when they were fighting, he had to tase her. He is fighting with this woman, but he never shot her. Even, I'm going to give you guys another example of, I don't understand, I just don't understand the parallels. Dylan Roof, whatever the hell his name is, the one that killed those people at the church, he killed all those people, but yet instead the police were able to take him out peacefully. So what's the difference? That's just a question that I do have. What is the difference? I know what the difference is. White, black. And I hate to use that. I really do have to say that, but it makes you think. A man, and I posed this question to Trump supporters. They want to say, because they want to bring up black on black crime as, to go to dismantle Black Lives Matter movement. They try to do that. I'm like, black on black crime is not an issue. It is an issue, but it's not an issue. The issue, yes, we as black people are killing, black people do kill each other, but that's a issue, but it's not what we're talking about. Because when it comes to black on black crime, a person who kills another black person, 9 times out of 10, they are going to go to jail. They're going to go on trial. They're going to be in prison. So there's no comparison. There's no fight for justice when you ask why are we not out there protesting for black on black crime, because the killers are 9 times out of 10 in prison. And I said, well, what about someone who commits a mass murder? Most white people who commit mass murders, they've been taken out peacefully. The guy who shot up the movie theater, taken out peacefully. So, yeah, make me understand that. But once again, I do want to know what the thoughts and opinions are. Was this a justified killing versus was this unjustified? Let me know in the comment section and we're going to move on. Alright, you guys, so with that last story, I did forget to mention that Tyler Perry has announced that, he will pay for the funeral of Rayshard Brooks, which I think that's a good thing. As much as, I joke about his shows, I will say that Tyler Perry is an amazing guy. He is doing a lot. I know he flew, he set up to fly George Floyd's body home. So Tyler Perry, amazing guy, stand-up guy, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for him and what he does. So as much as I joke about, the Oval or the haves and the have-nots, at the end of the day, I think Tyler Perry is an amazing guy. He does a lot for the community, and we're going to leave it there. All right, guys, so this next story that I want to talk about, it's so bizarre to me. So there have been some recent lynchings that have gone on, and it's bizarre. Because the first article that I read, it said it was 5 people that had been lynched, but then there was another person that they added, so it's a total of 6 people have been found hanging in public places from trees, and I think one of them was a Latino, and the others are African Americans I think it's one woman and I think it was one lady and there were four men. One of them, it was, two cases are out in California, and I know one was in New York, and the most recent one that I had heard about, which was a 17-year-old boy, it was out in Houston, actually in Spring, Texas. Now, the authorities are ruling these as suicides, and I kind of find it interesting. Like I said, the 17-year-old boy, he was found hanging from a tree at an elementary school, and the other ones are in like really public places. Now, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but I do know I had a friend. Well, she wasn't really a friend of mine, but when I was a kid, a girl that I went to school with. Now, I think she accidentally did it. I don't think she intentionally meant to hang herself, but her mom found her in her bedroom, and she was hanging by a jump rope in the closet. I don't necessarily know if she meant to do that or not. I don't know. But when I think of suicide, I don't think of someone doing it in a public place, at a park, in front of City Hall or wherever. Like, it just sounds hella bizarre to me that someone's gonna take the time to hang themselves in a public place, so they're not gonna kill themselves in their home. Like, I'm pretty sure you have places in your apartments or your homes, like I'm pretty sure you have a ceiling fan. All you have to do is tie something around the ceiling fan, fit it properly, because I saw it in movies, but it's just, it's mind blowing to believe that a person's gonna go. So, and my question is, if they committed suicide, wouldn't there, so a tree, it would have to be a pretty tall tree. So that would mean that they would have to have a ladder to get up to the tree, tie the knot around the tree, boom, and then hang themselves. So I don't understand how they're ruling it a suicide. They say that there's footage of the people doing it. I, for one, would love to see the footage to show that these people actually did hang themselves. So until they show me otherwise, I'm going to say that these are modern day lynchings, because I just don't understand for the life of me. If like I said it, like I will once again say, a person is going to commit suicide, they're not going to do it in a public place. They're going to isolate themselves from other people and then do it. And then most times when it comes to a suicide, there's usually always a suicide note. And I don't even know if they've even found a suicide note. So again, I just do not believe that these people, these black people per se, and Latino, I don't believe these people hung themselves. I think that someone else did it. It could be a hate group, it could be, because you see it all, you're seeing it everywhere. Like if you look at the Shade Room and Baller Alert, you see these Karens and these male Karens going off on people about the whole Black Lives Matter movement. Like I watched a video last night where this man was at this woman's place of business screaming to her, all lives matter, Black lives matter, white lives matter, Latino lives matter. I'm so tired of people coming at us with that all lives matter thing. I think I might have said this last week. I'm going to say it again this week. That is not the argument. We are not saying all lives don't matter. We are saying, yes, all lives matter. But right now, what we're talking about is the fact that Black lives seem like they matter the least. So we're saying Black lives matter. We're not saying only Black lives matter. We're not saying that. We're saying, right, I'm so tired of that argument. I'm so over that fucking argument. Yes, all lives matter, but that's not what we're saying. And we're not saying, once again, we're not saying only Black lives matter. We're not saying that. But you guys, I am going to get off of that soapbox and I am going to move on. And I will say, I wish Karen would try me. I'm the wrong person to try. I will slap the shit out of you. Period, point, motherfucking blank. Male or female, I don't give a goddamn fuck. But let's move on. All right, you guys. So the next story that I want to talk about, it's a very interesting story. So it came out on Wednesday that Quaker Oats, my uncle used to work for Quaker Oats back in the day when I was a kid. Um, yeah, he did. He used to work for Quaker Oats up here in Dallas. So Quaker Oats, they are going through a rebranding. And what they're rebranding is they're rebranding Aunt Jemima. Now I don't know what their rebranding means, if they're gonna change the name of it or or the name and the packaging altogether. And the reason that they're gonna do that is because of its racist origins, which I mean, I always looked at it and I always kind of felt a little, even as a kid, I always felt a little bit away about that. I'm like, well, because, once I got older and I understood about slaves and everything, I looked at them like, well, she looks a little bit slavish if you want to be honest with, and I buy the product because I love the pancakes, but I'm just like, if you look at her, she does look like a bit of a slave person, someone from slavery. So I always did feel some type of way about that. And then the fact that her name is Jemima. I'm like, why would they come up with that name? And then, people talking about Jemima the Hutt. Like, it's just like, but I think people have been complaining about that for years, and it just took up until now for Quaker Oats to say that they're going to rebrand it. Now, I did see some people like, why are they, people were, upset about them rebranding. I really don't care about them rebranding. I think it's high time for them to do that. And then when they did that, I think it's B&G who is behind Uncle Ben. They too said the same thing, that they're going to, start looking into rebranding Uncle Ben. Now I don't eat rice like that. It's not my favorite thing. So yeah, I'm just not a big rice person. Really not. Unless you mix it with some chicken or something, it's not my thing. So yeah, Uncle Ben is being rebranded. Here's the one that really kind of threw me off. It was Mrs. Butterworth. Mrs. Butterworth is being rebranded as well. Now, I always understood Mrs. Butterworth to be a white woman. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've always felt that Mrs. Butterworth was the depiction of a white woman. What the fuck was that? Yeah, so I always got the depiction that she was a white woman. And then back in the 90s, they used to promote these commercials on Fox Kids. And when she would talk, she sounded white to me. And her catchphrase was, "You better believe it." So again, like, I really always thought Mrs. Butterworth was white. But if they want to rebrand Mrs. Butterworth, I'm cool with that. I'm definitely okay with them rebranding Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben. Get those people, get them off of there, because it's not a good look. And then the other one that's being rebranded is Cream of Wheat. Now with Cream of Wheat, I don't eat cream of wheat, but I know my grandmother used to eat it. Ugh. But and you look at it, the packaging, it has a African American man, but he's a chef. So, I to an extent, I definitely get why they're rebranding. For sure, I understand Cream of Wheat, Uncle Ben, and Aunt Jemima. I understand why they're doing it, but I think, I will be honest, for me, it just feels like it's a little bit like too little, too late. I don't want to say that, but it just feels like if people have been, especially with Aunt Jemima, if people have been complaining about it for years, why all of a sudden now are you saying let us rebrand and rebrand? So it just poses a lot of questions. It really does. But I guess I will say, it's a good thing, but at the same token, it is just a little bit questionable. So let's move on to the next story, you guys. All right, you guys. So the next story that I definitely want to talk about is Juneteenth. I don't know why this one is tripping. So, you guys, I did tell you guys correctly last year that it. I know it's a Texas. Well, it's not really a Texas thing anymore. I mean, it happened in Texas. It was 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. I told you guys correctly last week, which I knew I was right. I knew it was either 2 or 3 years because, like I said, I've celebrated Juneteenth since I was a kid. I've known about Juneteenth since I was a kid. It's something that's a very, very big deal in my hometown, which once I finish this video, edited and uploaded for you guys, I am heading home because this year, unfortunately, due to COVID, we're not having our big parade that we have every year. We have a parade every year, and then me and some people that I know, my best friend, her, and her family, we watch parade. They go home. I go to the park. There's vendors in the park. There's food. It's just a good time had by everybody. So unfortunately, we're not having that event this year, but they are doing some things, in the community. They're talking to the community, and I'm just here for it, and I'm so glad that, and here's the thing that's really upsetting me because idiot in chief number one, he made a statement that, he made Juneteenth very famous. No, the fuck you did not make it very famous. This is something that's been around forever. So you didn't make it famous. You just proved to people that you're truly a racist. That's all you managed to do, you fat orange bitch. I can't stand him. YSAP. YSAP, as my girl Roxanne calls him. Shout out to Rox. God, he's a fucking idiot. He made it famous. But I don't even want to discuss him. I don't want to talk about him. I want to talk about this day that we have to celebrate our freedom and our independence. And actually, to be honest with you guys, Juneteenth in my hometown is much bigger than the 4th of July. Just keeping it real. We celebrate June because my hometown, I mean, it's a mixed population. It's, you have your one side where it's a whole lot of white people that live. Then the other side, the south side is full of, the south side is where the rich white people live. The west side, black people. North side, black people. East side, black people and Hispanics. And that's really what it is. That's how it is in my hometown. So on the north, west, and east for Juneteenth, you just see nothing but blackness being celebrated throughout. And then, like I said, on the 4th of July, it's just kind of, people celebrate it, but it's kind of crickets. Because we have it jumping for Juneteenth. Man, back in the day, me and my friends, after the parade, we would go to the mall. We all trying to figure out what we're going to wear to the parties because there were so many parties the whole night. You just celebrate. Oh, God, I remember the one night I got sick and threw up in my car. It was awesome. It was awesome because I had fun that night. We went from one party to the next party. We didn't stop partying until 6 a.m. and I had a good time. Man. But that's what I'm talking about with Juneteenth. So, there are a lot of companies that are now implementing that Juneteenth is a paid holiday. And then also, Andrew Cuomo in New York, he signed an executive order making it a paid holiday for, state workers. And next year, he's going to propose to make it a permanent state holiday, which is pretty cool. And I'm just going to name to you guys just a few of the companies that have implemented that it is a paid holiday for their employees. Nike has won, Target, Adobe, Google, JCPenney, Lyft, Uber, MasterCard, the New York Times, the NFL, Postmates, Quicken Loans, Square, and Twitter. Those are just a few. It was a lot more, but I just didn't want to name all of them. Some of them I didn't know too much about, so I didn't want to talk about it. but those companies are making it a paid holiday for their employees. I'm on PTO today for Juneteenth. I wish that my company did the same thing, and because we are such a huge company. You guys have probably saw my shirt that I wear. You guys know where you guys probably know where I work. I just don't know why they didn't do it. But maybe next year. So let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. So the next story that I want to talk about, it kind of once again coincides with idiot in chief number one, YSAP. So last week, this dumb fuck decided he wanted to reverse the transgender rights, the transgender civil rights protection in the healthcare. Something that was, done under a protection that was granted under forever President Obama. And I think also when he did this, I think this was on the anniversary of that nightclub shooting out in Florida. Pulse. Is that the name of the club? You guys have to remind me about them. But he did it on that day, and I'm just like, this asshole has got to be the most insensitive son of a bitch I've ever had the displeasure of seeing on television ever. He's an idiot. Ugh. You guys, I'm actually just about to go off on a tangent before I get deeper into this story. So, I know I preached this last week, and I'm preaching it again this week, you guys. This election, get out and vote. Make it a priority. If you have to go to early voting, do that. If you have to go to, the polls on election day, make sure you do that. Do whatever you have to do. If you have to take a day off of work, do it, you guys. Please. It is imperative that we get out there and we make our voices heard. And not only in the presidential election, you guys, we have to make our voices heard in the local elections as well. Because that's where real change is going to come in at the local level. So research, your judges, the city council, your judges, the constables, everybody, research. Make sure that you guys, as well as myself, put people in office that represent you and your value and what you want to see in your community. That is imperative, you guys. And I'm preaching to you guys, and I'm preaching it to myself as well. Because after last week's video, I had to go and think to myself, where am I registered to vote at? And I was a little pissed off when I found out where I was registered to vote at. Because I moved from my hometown. I've been gone from there officially 3 years now. I left there in 2017. And then when I renewed my license last year, I checked the box to register myself to vote, which I knew I already was registered to vote. I just wanted them to change. I was just doing that, since I had changed my address. I thought they would, I thought with me re-registering, it was going to change my address to where my aunt stays at, where my mail goes, but it didn't. It kept it at my home address in my hometown. So on election day or either early voting, I'm going to have to go to my hometown. And also what I need to do now is I just have to change the address to my aunt's address in my hometown. Not a problem. So that's another thing, you guys. Just make sure you guys are registered to vote. Make sure you guys are registered to vote in the right county. And that's where I want to leave that at. Now, back to YSAP. So like I said, he wanted to reverse the transgender civil rights. I'm so happy that on Monday, the Supreme Court, they ruled that gender identity and sexual orientation were protected civil rights. So basically, it was just a big ass fuck you to YSAP. And I'm so happy for the Supreme Court doing that. I just don't understand him. Actually, I do understand him. It's his racism. It's his hatred. It's everything about him. But his supporters want to. And people like Caitlyn Jenner, bitch, how do you support him? I don't understand that. How do you stand with somebody that doesn't respect you, doesn't care about you, doesn't value you as a fucking person? Like, are you fucking retarded? And I hate to say that, but it's something mentally wrong with Caitlyn Jenner if she still supports him. Because you're a trans woman. Yes, you're rich. Yes, you're white, but you're still, at the end of the day, a transgender woman that they look at as a freak of nature. Some people, not I. But some people look at you with the biggest side eye, but here you are still caping for someone who doesn't see it for you. Make that shit make sense to me. We're gonna move on. All right, you guys, and then the next story that I want to talk about is going to be about the production company Big Fish. If you guys are not familiar with Big Fish, they produce reality shows that some of us watch, i.e., Love and Hip Hop. That could be Atlanta, New York, Miami, and Hollywood, and also Black Ink Crew, Chicago, New York, and Compton. And they also produced a TV show called Live PD. Now, Live PD as well as Cops were both canceled last week, due to this recent situation with George Floyd. So it also came out, and I actually found this information out because of Charmaine from Black Ink Crew Chicago, because she said that she would no longer work with Big Fish after what happened. So what happened is, and also Viacom has, completely let go of Big Fish. So what's going to happen with shows like Black Ink Crew and Love and Hip Hop? They're going to produce the shows in-house. And the reason that they're going to produce the shows in-house is because with Live PD, there was footage of an Austin, Texas native. His name was Javier Ambler, and his death was captured on camera, but the footage was later destroyed. And Big Fish is the one that destroyed the footage. And I'm just like, wow. I don't understand that. That's ass backwards. So if you have footage of the cops killing this man, and you think it's the right thing to destroy the footage, I am mind blown by that. Like, how do you do that? So, in a sense, what you're saying is it's okay for the cops to do that, and we don't have to show the people. That is jarring that they actually had footage of this man's death on camera, and they destroyed the said footage. How do you do that? How do you go to sleep at night knowing that you have footage of a man dying and it's an unjust killing, and you just say, oh, fuck it. Ain't nobody gonna miss him. Ain't nobody gonna care. Let's just sort of let's just scrap that footage altogether. Let's make sure it never sees the light of day. Is that what we're really doing out there? Like, that is some bogus ass shit. If I ain't ever saw bogus shit in my life. Craziness. So I'm glad that, VH1, well, not VH1, but Viacom, CBS, I'm glad that they took the necessary steps to get rid of Big Fish. Big Fish was a problem. They gotta go. So let's move on to the last big story that I want to talk about, you guys. All right, you guys. So this is an entertainment story. So, this is a bit of Real Housewives news. So I did see on social media yesterday that it has officially been announced when the Real Housewives of Potomac returns to Bravo. So the season 5 of the Real Housewives of Potomac will return on Sunday, August the 2nd. They had said summer, but that is damn near end of the summer. That is damn near the end of summer. Like, yeah. I'm so kind of sad. I mean, damn, I really was waiting. I was expecting. I know we all wanted it in May. I hope that this season lives up to the hype. What else? So yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. I just wonder what it's going to do for their filming schedule, because most of these things, most of the stuff that's happened in this season is now a year old, because they started filming this show last July, I believe, last July or August. So most of this stuff, by the time we get to it, that shit is gonna be a year old. And then when we get to the reunion, they're gonna be arguing about shit that's a year old. But I mean, we're gonna be here for it nonetheless. And then also in some Real Housewives news on Real Housewives of Atlanta, I cannot believe that I'm even sitting here talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta, because Real Housewives of Atlanta just went off. I'm starting to see now as a reviewer why other reviewers get so, be bogged down about Real Housewives of Atlanta, and they don't want to talk about it in the off season, because Real Housewives of Atlanta is just a whole lot. I think Bravo needs to just kind of, when it comes to Real Housewives of Atlanta, I don't think Real Housewives of Atlanta needs nearly as many episodes as they get. I think that's one of the biggest things for me when it comes to the Housewives of Atlanta. I feel like the 20 plus episodes is just a lot for anybody. And then when Atlanta is, sometimes the drama is stale, or we get a lot of filler episodes. So I think they might want to shorten down, so they might need to shorten down some of the episodes. And then also in Real Housewives of Atlanta news, so the contracts have gone out for the girls. I know I saw that Portia said that she got her contract. Eva, just depending on who you ask, Eva said that, on a Ricky Smiley Morning Show, that she would not be returning for season 13 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. She says this is a decision that she made. She talked to her family, and they just decided that this was the good, the move for her was to lead the show. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I do like Eva. I know people have issues with Eva. I know people call Eva a colorist. And the reason why people still call Eva a colorist is because of that comment she made a few seasons ago about Shamia. And people still think to this day that she was shading Shamia. She was not. I'm going to tell you guys once again, she was not shading Shamia. What she was saying was Shamia is not black with a Q. She was doing a play on words, but the audience didn't catch that. I did. I caught it. What she was saying, because people thought she was saying she's not black with a hue. That's not what she said. She said she's not black with a Q. When she said she's not black with a Q, she was talking about Shamari. She was saying Shamia is not Shamari, black with a Q. Black, Shamari's girl group, BLAQUE. So she was talking about Shamari and Shamia. But, and then she said the little nappy heads, people upset about that comment as well. So I don't think a lot of people are going to miss Eva. But again, I don't believe, when it comes to Eva, I don't believe that she left on her own accord. I believe that Eva did not get a contract renewal. That's my opinion. Because, there have been a lot of housewives who have come out, because I feel like Eva at the reunion, she was doing a lot to make sure that she could keep that peach for season 13, and it just fell flat. I think of the housewives, you can tell which housewives have left the show on their own accord. Adrienne Maloof from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, she kind of left, kind of got fired because she didn't show up to the reunion the season that she left. And Lisa Vanderpump, she left on her own. Lisa Vanderpump, Tinsley Mortimer from New York City left on her own. I even say Bethany Frankel left on her own, because I think Bethany and her production company, they were in her team were in negotiations with Bravo, and they couldn't come to an agreement on how much money she would get paid. So I think Bethany ultimately said, deuces, she's out. Who else I think left the show on their own accord? Kim Fields. I don't think Kim Fields got fired. I think Kim Fields was like, you know what? I did it. I'm done. I'm out. So those are housewives that I feel have left on their own. Because what Eva did is also the same thing that Leanne Locken did on Real Housewives of Dallas. If you guys are not familiar with Dallas, I would say go check it out. It's actually a really good series. It's a good show. But Leanne, she this past season she had said some, some offensive comments about about a cast member named Carrie Britton. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. She's Hispanic, and she made a lot of Mexican comments, even though the woman is not. I don't even know if she's Mexican. She might be from Mexico. I don't know. Don't get me lying, but she made those comments that she's a Mexican. I'm Mexican, but if you guys want to go check it out, go check it out. And then also, Love B. Scott is reporting that Nene has been fired from Real Housewives of Atlanta as well. And this was reported on Wednesday night. And yesterday, on Thursday, Nene's manager as well as Bravo came out saying that Nene has not been fired, that they're actually still in negotiation with her contract. And I know that the girls have said, I know that Marlo has said it, that they're all in talks with, Truly Entertainment and Bravo about how they go forward with this upcoming season. So, we'll see what happens. November is a ways away if they even return in November. But, we'll see what happens once filming starts happening on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. So let's move on to the honorable mentions, you guys. All right, you guys. So then in honorable mentions, these are not big stories, but it's something I want to talk about. So Amanda Seales, she will be hosting the 2020 BET Awards this year, which will be held next Sunday on June the 28th. Will you guys be watching the BET Awards? It's going to be interesting to see how they do the BET Awards this year, since, I know things are gradually opening, but not to that capacity where they can pack out a whole, a whole area, a whole big space to have celebrities and whatnot. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a virtual award show. It's just gonna be interesting to see how it plays out, because I do know that there are gonna be some performances for the BET Awards. So I wonder how that's gonna play out as well. In other news, it is reported that Carly Red of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta is officially a single woman. So it looks like her divorce is official from, is it Alabama, Arkansas, whatever his name is, Arkansas Mo, Alabama, whatever the fuck it is. It appears they have officially called it, quits, and they're divorced. Another story, I thought I wanted to do it. I thought I wanted to really go deep into this story as a big story, but I didn't want to. So the mayor of DC, she's being sued for the painting. Now, if you guys are not familiar, she painted Black Lives Matter on a street, and she changed her name to Black Lives Matter Way. I believe that's the name of the street. So she's being sued by this activist group for doing it. I don't understand why they're suing her. The only thing I can think of is you're obviously racist. Because, what do you want her? I'm pretty sure they would prefer her to say all lives matter, but I'm not going into that argument again. It's stupid as shit. Like, are we serious? Y'all want to sue this woman because she's playing Black Lives Matter on the street. Then the NFL, they're back in the news again. The NFL is pledging that they're gonna, they're pledging 250 million, not thousand, $250 million over 10 years to combat systemic racism. NFL, fuck you. Seriously. Y'all want to do all this shit now? Where was all the solidarity for black people when Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee in protest of black people? Where was all the solidarity at then? Are you going to give Colin Kaepernick his job back? And speaking of, God, I don't want to mention this asshole again. WISAP feels that Colin Kaepernick should probably get another chance. Once again, fuck you, WISAP. And fuck you, NFL. And then also Netflix CEO, I didn't get his name, He has gifted $120 million in scholarships to be divided between Morehouse and Spelman and the UNCF. I think that is absolutely amazing. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. So, shout out to him for that one. And then lastly, you guys, B Simone. I talked about B Simone last week with her and her, she wants to be with someone who's an entrepreneur and not necessarily someone who works 9 to 5. Well, after that video posted, she got back in the news because it came out that she had plagiarized her book from other, and these are planners. Cause I saw on social media where they showed her book, and it looked so fucking flimsy. And then I looked at it, I'm like, wait a minute, that is a planner. So her book is a planner? I'm like, okay, really? So she also went on social media this week to say that she's never written a book before, so she went with some other people. She outsourced basically to have people put her book together for her. So she didn't really know that it was plagiarized. And I'm like, that's not a good look, and that's not a good excuse. So because you're not an author, and you had a publishing company, I would assume, produce your book, that means that you didn't look at the final product to see if things were done to your satisfaction, to your liking. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But then another video surfaced where she said that she had to push her book back because there were some things with the book that she just wasn't so happy with. So she just pushed the date that it was going to come out back so that everything could be 100% with the book. So my question for B Simone is, which one is it? Did you plagiarize? Did you not plagiarize? Did you know about it? Did you not know about it? And I'm gonna put this out there. I'm not judging B Simone. I don't care about B Simone. I don't really know B Simone like that. Like I'm not a fan. I don't know too much about her, so I can't say anything other than what I see in the blogs. But you guys, that is gonna do it for me this week. We will do this every single week. We will do this the same time, the same place. And as always, you guys, I always tell you guys to please stay safe out there and take care of yourselves. So until the next one, you guys, I will talk to you later.